Kant siri yang ke-6. Okay. Terlebih dahulu saya ucapkan selamat datang dan selamat bertemu kenal dengan saudara Saravanan Ganesan yang akan menjadi pendiskusi kita dalam siri Wacana Immanuel Kant siri yang ke-6. Okay, diam tak diam kita sudah melepasi setengah tahun pembicaraan ini dan alhamdulillah sambutannya from time to time dari masa ke semasa itu sangat menggalakkan dan saya harapkan penyuburan wacana intelektual yang mengenegarkan sosok pemikir yang begitu powerful, yang begitu idealistik dan juga begitu kontroversial. Itu kita dapat lunasi, kita dapat bicarakan dalam suasana atau dalam perspektif di Malaysia ini. Jadi pada pagi ini dalam siri wacana pemikiran Immanuel Kant siri ke-6 tahun 2025, Mr. Sarah lah saya sebut, saya santuni beliau yang akan berkongsi dengan kita pada pagi ini satu judul bicara yang beliau pertajukkan dengan Immanuel Kant, kritik ke atas kritik. Jadi saya kira mungkin tajuknya agak menyebabkan kita terfikir apa yang akan menjadi landasan utama ataupun perbahasan. Okay? Kerana apa? Kata kritik itu kalau saya dapat kongsikan sedikit dari sudut makna yang secara etimologinya, kita sandarkan istilah kritik itu dengan maksud bongkar instead of beberapa perkataan sebelum ini kita sebutkan sebagai analisis, penelitian, bahkan penilaian. Tetapi yang lebih jitu, kita bila melibatkan kata kritik itu hal yang ingin dibongkarkan hingga ke akar ataupun hingga kepada maksud-maksud yang definitif, bahkan yang lebih mendasar serta mencengangkan mungkin. Kerana itu yang sering digunakan oleh kata utama ataupun perjudulan mauduk yang digunakan oleh para filsuf, para ilmuwan dan para pemikir, sering mengungkapkan kata-kata kritik dalam menghasilkan treatise, menghasilkan risalah-risalah dan juga karya-karya besar mereka. Okey, terutamanya kalau kita nisbahkan di sini kepada Immanuel Kant yang hadir, yang manjur dengan 3 kritik utama, yang saya kira masing-masing yang pendiskusi yang hadir pada pagi ini sudah maklum dengan 3 kritik besar, yang mana disebutkan sebagai kritik atas akal budi murni, critic of purism, kritik di atas kritik di atas practical reason, idea-idea praktis, dan juga kritik ke atas daya pertimbangan. Dan juga bila melihat pada tajuk ini, saya agak refleks dengan satu karya besar yang diusahakan oleh Karl Marx dan sahabat baiknya Friedrich Engels yang diberi judul kritik ke atas kritik yang kritikal. 3-4 kali diulang kata kritik, yang dijadikan judul The Holy Families. Okay, yang diusahakan oleh Karl Marx dan Friedrich Engels. Jadi tanpa melengahkan masa, saya kira mungkin saudara Saravanan ada sesuatu yang ingin dikongsikan di atas pertajukan kritik ke atas kritik daripada pemikiran Immanuel Kant. Jadi tanpa melengahkan masa, saya harapkan pada berdiskusi pada siri yang ke-6 ini kita mendapat sesuatu daripada perspektif kritik ataupun dari perspektif yang pelbagai, yang beragam, tatkala kita membicarakan Immanuel Kant. Sedari daripada siri yang pertama lagi, kita dah perbincangkan pelbagai perspektif yang melibatkan pemikiran atau tunjangan Immanuel Kant, baik itu dari sudut dasar-dasar falsafahnya, dari sudut Kant yang dikaitkan dengan fahaman-fahaman mistik. Juga kita dikenalkan oleh pengurusi PPFPM sendiri, Dr. Alino, yang mengaitkan Kant dengan semangat dan kearifan timur, terutama di alam Melayu dan Nusantara. Dan juga kita melihat wacana Kant dalam aspek bangsa, rasis yang dibicarakan oleh saudara Liu dalam 2 seminar siri yang wacana siri yang keempat. Dan dalam wacana bulan lepas, Dr. Abdul Hakim membahaskan Kant dari sudut falsafah agama. Jadi hari ini untuk kita mengetahui dengan lebih mendasar apa yang cuba dimaksudkan, apa cuba diungkapkan tentang kritik ke atas kritikan, saya serahkan kepada saudara Saravanan Ganesan sebagai pembicara pada sesi kita kali ini. So, saya serahkan. Okay, you can click also. Okey, kita mulakan.
Okey. Terima kasih Dr. Saiful for inviting me. It is my honor to be here. I will not waste time. I will get straight to the point. 7 points. I've concised them to 7 points so that kita boleh bincang lepas ni. Because I think masa berbincang tu lebih penting lah.
Itu inti discourse tu.
Yes. So I'll make it very fast. This is my observation. I could be wrong. I just want to see what everyone has to say as well. Okay, first point. Immanuel Kant's critical imperative concept of having a universal morality, that what we want to be treated as is reflected on how we treat others, and that brings about the balance of treatment. But the thing is, it's not new. Ini bukan berita baru. For thousands of years, people. In fact, it was even published in the Bible. They say, "Do unto others what thou wouldst have others do unto thee." 2,000 years before that, dah tahu lah. But I guess what Kant wanted to do is to remind people the importance of that. Forget the religious part of it, but the message. There was this comedian, Eddie Griffin. He said, some people say Jesus was the messenger. Some people say Muhammad was the messenger. He said, I don't care who of course his language was worse lah. He said, I don't care who the messenger is, did you get the message? And I think that's a fair point to make. So Kant's example of this is a reminder to everyone that don't forget the value of what people said then. And he went on to experiment with this. So when you experiment, it becomes empiricism already lah. But although Kant was not too much into empiricism, but he still had value for it. And I think that's something we need to observe. That's point number 1. Point number 2, ethics. Ethics are not exclusive only to the human species. We think only human beings know what ethics are because we are human beings, we are civilized, we are all intelligent. But ethics you find across the board, even in animals. There's this guy named Puncak. He did an experiment mostly on rats and mice. His experiment was, one of the experiments he found that you find 7 base emotions in mammals, across all mammals lah. Tapi dia punya eksperimen mostly tipis and the base emotions are positive emotions 4: care, lust, play, and seek. That's a positive emotion. His negative emotions that he discovered in mammals is rage or anger or kemarahan, fear, panic, and sadness. Now, one of the best things he has done in the experiment is to find out that ethics. He put 2 rats together. Okay, he feeds them every day lah, bawa dia, and then makes it macam a practice. So rat tu dah faham. At this time, I'm going to get food. Okay, so once that one became a norm, the rats came out even without him calling. They'll come out at the time because nak makan treat. And then he trained the rats to play. They start playing. So he gives them about 1 or 2 hours playtime, and then dia masuk balik dia punya sangkar. But in the play, this is something he didn't train. He noticed one rat is about 20% bigger than the other rat. Okay, dia besar sikit the size. When they play, the bigger rat always wins. But he noticed after many times the big rat always winning, small rat never won even once. The next day when they came out, the small rat didn't want to play. The big rat went and cucuk dia, call him, he didn't want to play. So he put them to rest. 2 days later he brought them out again. The small rat didn't want to play. So he said, why is the small rat not playing? He didn't understand why. And then the big rat played with the small rat. Then the small rat came to play. The big rat lost. Not because the small rat was better, but the big rat wanted to lose so that the small rat will agree to play. So from then on, for the next 8 or 9 months, he noticed in, let's say, 10 games they play, the big rat will win 6 or 7 times, 3 or 4 times he let the small rat win. That is the basis of ethics. And it's in a rat. So we shouldn't be so proud that, oh, we are human beings here. No. Ethics is something that is biologically strained within us. If rats can do that, you know, the rat knows, kalau saya selalu menang, dia tak main lah. Dia macam boring lah. So I kalah sekali-kala, and then dia pun interested nak main. Now the small rat knows that he is not stronger than the big rat. Dia tahu, you know, but he knows that is the agreement. That is the contract. It's a social contract. It's non-verbal. So that, I think, was one of the greatest discoveries by this guy, Puncak, his name. So ethics here, when Kant speaks of ethics, his idea of ethics is very interesting. I mean, this man has opened doors for us. What I really find interesting about Kant's work is it's not new, but he has done a repackaging so that the people of his time could see it. Because doubt started coming. There are two kinds of doubts. The skeptic doubt, that means you doubt with reason. And then the other kind of doubt is, I tak mau dengar. You know, that one is not even doubt, that is disbelief. You dah block, and you cannot learn already. Skeptic punya doubt is important. Tapi Kant, this guy he wants to even doubt that. Even reason dia nak doubt. Nobody thought of that. That is original. That is a very original thought. He said, no, you want to doubt? Doubt lah. Doubt reason itself. And that opened my eyes to say, okay, now I'm going to doubt Kant punya word.
Okay.
The doubt on the one who doubts. You know? Because that's the way to learn the depth of the reasoning. And Kant gave us that. So, back to ethics. His way of seeing ethics was something that was very real and very practical. But his ethics was, you don't have to listen to someone tell you this is the right thing to do. You just do what you should do. You have a duty. You ada tugas. You just jalankan tugas. That's all. That is your virtue. You know, you don't falter from your duty. You don't jangan terpesong. You go straight and do what you're supposed to do, and that is virtue already. So that is more theoretical. That's why people like Kant didn't really agree with people like David Hume and all that. Now, that's point number 2. I'm going to run through fast lah, because I really want to discuss. Okay. Number 3, Kant tried to reconcile between free will and determinism, amor fati, the love of fate. Kant, because people started saying there's no such thing as fate, we create our own fate. You know, and again, we have to look at history lah, how things turned out, why they became what they became. You know, so when the church ruled Europe, it made it mandatory that you just listen, you don't question. You know, the Vatican was ruling with such power, even kings and emperors didn't have the power. The Pope was the most powerful person in the world, well, in Europe, their world. So when that happened for so many hundreds of years, people were dying, people were being burnt at the stakes, people started to doubt. Betul ke dia ni? Tengok berapa orang mati. And then the plague comes into play. People are dying of diseases, but the church couldn't cure it. But the church said, we can do all these things, so you must listen to us. But when all these things happen, the church is not doing anything. It's not the fault, again, we have to understand, it is not the fault of the religion. It is the fault of the ones who malpractice the religion. It's like the terrorists we have today. People think they represent Islam, and they make it look like they represent Islam. but they don't. See? So this is what happened there. So when people started doubting this, the doubt became to an extreme, sampai no such thing as God. They got angry with the religion. They didn't know how to differentiate. You know? When Kant came with this idea, okay, there is religion that says fate, takdir. And then there's the free will, which man thinks is no, there's no such thing as takdir. It's my free will that determines every fate. They were opposite camps.
Yes.
Kant tried to build a bridge. His idea was, I find it very interesting. His idea was, okay, everything is determined in the universe by the laws of physics. Physics, chemistry, biology, they determine everything because you cannot go against physics. Physics is reality, and your study of physics is the reality of things. You cannot go against it. It's memang dah macam tu, you know. So that is fate. But he also says that we as human beings can understand this well enough and then make our own decisions and rise above it. But this is where my critique comes in. It is a contradiction, because if you accept that physics is the law of the universe, if you accept that as a reality, how can you rise above it? If that is a reality, you cannot rise above it. You cannot make your own decisions within it, because if you accept the law of nature as law itself, then you cannot rise above it, because you are part of that law. Your existence is a part of that law. This is where I have to agree with religion. Because religion says nothing defies the law of God. Nothing can defy the law of God. In fact, I see it as the law itself is God. That is, Spinoza said this.
Justif natura.
Natura naturans is naturing nature. And then he has natura naturata, natured nature. The example would be, okay, the only example I can think of is music. Science would look at the chords of music, the notes. Let's say you hold A and then you hold F. These are the chords. That's what makes music, right? That is natured nature, natura naturata. But there is something that the intellect doesn't see. The silence, the gaps between the chords. That is the life force of the music. It is not so much the chords alone. Because if you put all the chords together, it's not music, it's noise. But when you separate the chords, a clear example would be reggae. You have A minor, F. If you play just chang, chang, chang. But if you play stop, silence, check, check, check. Now there's rhythm. And with that rhythm comes melody.
Okay, pengerusi kita,
Hello,
Talino sudah sampai.
my countryman. He's from Negeri Sembilan.
My friend also, saudara Ujang, saudara
Negeri
Nisa.
Sembilan? Oh, okay. Which part? Kalau Pilah, Tampin. Dulu Semban, itu Tampin lah. Okay, so when science looks at what can be seen or what can be heard, it doesn't look at the silence between the chords. It doesn't look at the emptiness, which is a very important part of that music, right? That is the life force. The science reasoning is, I see the chords, and then what is this silence you're talking about? I don't hear it. Of course, you don't hear it, it's silent. But it's the silent gap that gives it fullness. So here, when he talks about reconciling between fate and free will cannot be if there is fate. You cannot bridge it. This is my critique on Kant.
Okay.
You cannot bridge it. It's either this or that. It cannot, you cannot equate. You either have free will or there is fate. Now, I believe, I'm not saying it's right, but this is what I believe there is fate. I believe there is God, and God is the all-prevailing law of nature. I believe that fully. I mean, the very fact that I am here today is because somebody came to my shop and saw my book. What are the chances of that happening? Is two needles meeting, and today I'm here. And I can give so many more examples in my life, which almost impossible to happen, but it happened. There must be a force that works it. You know, if you look at everything in life, like the way it is, how did things come to be? So this is my critique. Point number 3, my critique on Kant. Number 4, he left us with the foundation of critiquing everything. This one rather. Even reason. He gave us the world, the West, the legitimacy of skepticism. He told us, and he's right, that skepticism is not only possible but necessary. The doubt is necessary. You need to have doubts. But like I said, you can distinguish between doubt and disbelief. Disbelief is close. I tak mahu dengar, I don't want to. But skepticism, that's skepticism. I want to know. You see? So he gave us that. The necessity of skepticism. Now the point about that is, to question superstitions and belief systems because it's important. Now that opened the door for us to doubt even his claims. And this, I think, is, to me, Kant's greatest gift. Because he told me that I can even doubt him. That is grand. That is a very grand thing. Point number 4 is, I think, his greatest gift to us, to civilization. Immanuel Kant. Now the example I can give for this point number 4 is this guy named Jacques Derrida. 1950s philosopher, French philosopher. Derrida. Now he wrote a book. Yes, his book of grammatology. Dia punya buku de la grammatologie. In that book, he says, when I say something, the spoken word has no value. Its value only is created when the person I'm speaking to perceives it. So, if I say something, I'm saying something to Dr. Saiful, what I say doesn't matter because it has no value until how he perceives it, that's when the value begins. This is Jacques Derrida. I disagree with that because there's a Hebrew word, davar. It means word. In the Hebrew language, it means word. It also means thing, something, matter. You know, word is intangible. You tak boleh pegang, but matter is tangible, right? But they use the same term for both these things, word and thing. That means they saw value that when you say a word, when it's uttered, it can go on to become realized. That's what they believe in, which I think is a very strong point to make. And the same thing you find with the Islamic application of the Arabic word lafaz. When you utter, it has the potential of becoming a reality. The simple thing would be my intention. If I lafaz the shahada, it is because I have an intention. And when I have that intention, I lafaz, I say it out, I become it. It's like a bit like Descartes. I think, therefore I am. But there's something that I disagree with that. I'll come to that later. Now, this is the example. What is said can become a reality. And that's point number 4. Because Kant gave us that reality. Before that, nobody thought that you can even doubt reason. That was a monumental thinking. That's point number 4. Point number 5. Oh, before that, Derrida, kan dia cakap, what I say is not, what the word the person says is not important, is how the person perceives it that's important. His book, De la Grammatologie, was read by many people. Their understanding was, oh, so if somebody says something, I can take that word and interpret it to what I want and use it that way. So they thought, oh, fantastic, man. So they wrote reviews lah pasal Derrida punya buku. Dia kata, oh, they flow, gave us that kind of thinking and all that. And then Derrida said, that's not what I meant. I was thinking, kau yang cakap, what you say doesn't matter. So why are you so concerned now that people misunderstood what you said?
Itu yang kontradiksi, because salah satu phrase dalam gramatologi itu ada, Derrida mengungkapkan tidak ada benda di luar teks.
Yes.
Di situ menjadi kontradiksi.
That's a contradiction.
Orang salah interpretasi karya gramatologi ini.
That's why Kant is superior to Derrida.
Yeah, definitely. I agree on that.
So, okay. Okay, point number 5. Kant felt experience alone is not enough. This is where he disagrees with Hume and even Aristotle. Kant's idea is that virtue is something that happens when you do your duty right. Whereas David Hume, and even long before Aristotle, felt virtue is something you build in your character through experience. I'm inclined to agree with Hume and Aristotle, because this is where even I feel even Nietzsche was not on point, because Nietzsche said you create your own values. But what are your values based on? It has to be based on something, right? And that something is normally the social condition. So you cannot create your own values. Your own values are actually influenced by everything and everyone around you. You kena ada reference. Kalau tak, macam mana nak create, kan? You have to have material to create. So coming back to this, Kant felt that doing your virtue alone, your virtue is created by doing your duties correctly. He said, yes, experience is important, but more important than experience is, what was his word? Reason. More important than experience is reason. I feel they are both very important. You have to have experience, you have to have reason, because reason will then make sense of experience. But if you want to say reason alone, I don't think it's enough. If you want to say experience alone pun tak cukup. Because experience alone can mean other things, because you can listen to the wrong person and you believe that person and you think, oh yeah, I want to listen to that. That is no more reasoning, because you have the doubt. You didn't ask the person back, okay, why are you telling me this? Why do you say this is right? You're not asking. Kalau you don't ask, you will not know. Because maybe that person knows why it's right, but he's not telling you because you didn't ask, because he thought you knew. But then again, maybe that person also tak tahu. You don't know, so you have to know. So this is one of Kant's things that I am inclined away from. Point number 5. His disagreement with Hume and Aristotle's idea that of character development through virtue acts, based on his belief that following regulations and discharging your duty dah cukup, that is enough. And you can expect that from Kant, because Kant was known for his precision timing.
Yes.
Dia punya dinner time is only that time, every day without fail. Walking time, the people in his town used to set their clock according to his walking time.
Jam 4.
Oh, that is how precise. Dia macam mechanic tau. So a person who thinks so mechanically, so rigidly, expected lah for him to say, reason dah cukup, your duty dah cukup, you know, nothing else is important. It's expected of him. But he was not fully right there. Again, that's my critique on the Critic. Now, the Socratic method is to question critically and then to engage in debate and then to come up with a conclusion that is either the truth or at least close to the truth. And one of the best examples I can give is God, because a lot of people today think it's intellectual to say there is no God, but it may be intellectual to say a lot of things, but there is no wisdom. Intellectual and wisdom are two very different things. They are not even connected. People think, oh, kalau dia intellect kan, oh, that means dia memang wise. No, not true. Because there can be some people who are not that smart lah. Kira bodoh pun dia cakap, but they have wisdom. Simple things they know. Okay, point number 6. Kant also displayed the boundaries of some of his observations. Memang dia punya observation, as great as it may be, still ada limit juga, because he is human lah. This one was covered by Dr. Liu. Dr. Liu, right? Mr. Liu ke?
Mr. Liu.
Mr. Liu. The fourth thing that we were talking about Kant and his view of racism. Kant saw race very wrongly. He generalized. But again, we cannot put the blame on Kant and say what kind of person. His time dah macam tu. He was born in a time when that was the standard. If you are black, if you are from Africa, you are a slave.
Yes.
Because they were all slaves. They were not allowed to be free. So Kant was born into that. He think, oh, memang macam tu lah. This is what reality is. So you can't really blame him there. But the problem with that is the generations after him took that out of context and they practiced it. So that is the danger lah. Last point is my conclusion. The gift of necessary skepticism Kant gave us, it's a legacy to mankind, is the modern thinking process of self-analysis. And because you have that door open to doubt, it makes it easier for you to analyze yourself. It is based on this that I did the Jung experiment in front of the mirror. Because now that I know I can doubt who I am to find out who I am, I don't fear that anymore. I don't want to close myself to my negatives. I want to know what my negatives are. That thinking Kant gave us made it easier for us to analyze ourselves, and more important, to acknowledge and admit our wrongs. There's one of these Guruji says, before you talk about your rights, recognize your wrongs. Self-reflection. A self-reflection. And Kant's way of thinking made that easier to do. Because it's not easy to reflect on yourself. It's not easy for us to look at ourselves and talk about, kalau ada yang betul, I am right here, I am good here. Anything good, you want to amplify about yourself. And sometimes you exaggerate pun ada. But if there's something wrong, do you dare admit it? Do you dare talk about it? Do you dare bring it up and ask people, what do you think? I think my negative is this. What do you guys think? There are two aspects to that. You takut, you know why? Because you takut they may be lying. They might exaggerate. Oh, ni lah Chan. Pagi dah. So you are afraid. This is where we must become Diogenes. Don't fear anything. Don't even fear what people are going to say about you. Fear that you are going to listen to them and judge yourself based on that. But it's a balance lah. You have to listen to what people say sometimes, because they may be saying the truth. And if you want to, again, tak mau dengar, you'll never learn. You'll never learn who you are, what you can be. Your own potential dah habis, finish. Potential, tinggal potential. It doesn't grow. But if you are willing to open yourself up to shooting, take it. And then you judge for yourself where the right and wrong is. And this comes through experience. That is part of my final point. The honest seeking, when we seek honestly, when we look for it honestly, we can learn to distinguish the line between doubt and disbelief, dogma and conscious knowledge. Because most of the time, very difficult to tell the difference. Dogma and conscious knowledge, very difficult. We don't know which is which. Doubt and disbelief pun macam tu. We can't really tell the difference unless we really go into it. We have to dare to go into it. To go into it, we first have to go into ourselves. That is the first daring, the first courage. I'll be honest, there are a lot of things about me that I still don't dare delve. I'll be very honest, that's the honest truth. I'm not going to say that, oh, I've done this so I know. No, I don't. There are things about myself which I'm still discovering. You know? And the only reason I am starting to discover so many things so fast is because I honestly opened myself to it. To the humiliation and to the pride. Both. You have to accept them at your same level. Then you will see balance. Again, now I come to that example, Descartes. When he said, that dubito ergo cogito, cogito ergo sum. He said that, and that one was so strong for centuries, almost 400 years, people still refer to it, but most people refer to it wrongly. They only take the cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. This is more motivational now. If I think I'm an engineer, I am an engineer. If I think I am a winner, I'm a winner. No, that's not what Descartes meant. But now looking at what Descartes said, I think therefore I am, because he doubted his own existence. Do I exist? Is this real? That was his doubt. So he thought, I want to find out if I'm real. And then he realized, hey, wait a minute, I am thinking about it. That means it's real because I think. That means I am real. I do exist because I think. Now let's do a Kant on Descartes. Betul ni. So, if you doubted your physical existence, what convinces you that your thought is real? You want to know if you really exist? Light a candle, touch the fire. Sakit kan? You exist. That is bukti. You don't have to say, I don't know whether I exist. Memang lah, you cubit pun you dah rasa kan. You exist. But you see, this is the problem with the intellect. Sometimes you go so far that you go off. Yeah, that's the problem with the intellect.
Tergelincir.
And you don't. And the best part, you don't realize how. You ingat you terror sangat. You really think you're damn good, and then you look at other, you know nothing. Lah macam terror. But that person, there's this book by Idris Shah, Wisdom of the Idiots. Idris Shah was a Sufi authority on Sufi philosophy. The book, Wisdom of the Idiots, it actually says the intellectual will look down on the clever. You're just clever. I'm intellect. So I'm superior to you. Okay? He looks down on the clever, but the clever and the intellect hate the wise. Because the one with wisdom will say things that are so simple but so deep that these fellows cannot accept. Worse than cannot accept, they cannot even access. They tak faham wisdom. They only know intellect, and this fellow only knows clever. Clever too, he'll put some words together and then he'll make it look like it's very deep. One example, a girl once said, don't waste your time with anyone who won't waste their time with you. And everyone said, wow, that's really good. I said, bodoh. If somebody is wasting their time with you, that itself is negative dah. It's a stupid thing to say, but it sounds clever. The intellect will look down on that. Bodoh, sound clever, but bodoh. So the intellect will say something deeper than that. It's not bodoh, it is intellect, but it has no wisdom. There's no wisdom in it. So the intellect will fool themselves into thinking they are wise, but they are not anywhere near wisdom. So I used to belong to this society called the Malaysian Theosophical Society. I came out of it because I found it too entertaining. I joined it. I joined it because
my field so.
Sorry?
My field so, my philosophy society.
No, theosophical.
Or theosophical.
The Malaysian it's a Malaysian arm of the International Theosophical Society. It was started by what's her name?
Theo.
Theo is agama, right?
Theo is God.
God.
Sophos is love. Love for wisdom.
Sophie.
So theosophy is the wisdom of God. Okay. Now I didn't know the meaning of that when I first read about it. This was about 25 years ago. So I read about it in the Sun newspaper. Theosophical Society meeting open to all, Seremban. I thought, okay lah. I balik Tampin, Seremban on the way. I said, okay lah, you tengok macam mana. So I called them, I said, come and said that. But before I read up on what is theosophy, then I found out about this lady named Madame Blavatsky in the 1800s, late 1800s.
New Age.
Sorry?
New Age. New Age movement.
New Age, yes. They are the most lost. So, this again was right after the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution changed mindsets. Some for the better, some for the worse. More for the worse. So she came up with this Theosophical Society and all they started, and then this guy, General Alcott, joined her, and then he made it very strong. His marketing was damn good and all that. But they were damn lost. So when I went and joined these people, I wanted to know, I didn't know anything about this, so I joined and they were talking about the brotherhood of mankind, the world, all that, we're all brothers and all that. I'm sick of hearing that. Tell me something new. Give me a contradiction. Tell me something that is controversial. That we will discuss. Brotherhood of mankind and all that. Would you open your door and go to sleep at night? No. Where's your brotherhood? You know there's a thief out there. He's not your brother. Your own brother can be your thief. So after a few times I realized the only books they read are from former theosophists. And I had this debate with them and said, you don't read any other books, huh? Oh no, these people, I said, no, you have to read other books as well. Then I came out of it. They have some good points. They do, some good points. Like once they were discussing Atlantis. Oh, Atlantis, the great Atlantis sank, all that. I just listened and they were all convinced about Atlantis and they were quoting this author, that author, semua. So, question answer, the president asked me, Sarah, do you have anything? I said, yeah, I just want to know, what is the only source of this Atlantis? The only recorded source of Atlantis? Nobody knew. They all quoted authors. I said, these authors are basing it on one source. No, Plato.
Ideas of
Plato mentions Atlantis in two of his dialogues, Critias and I forget the other one. I forgot the Apology, I think. I don't know. Two dialogues he mentions Atlantis and describes it. That is the only recorded source of Atlantis. And then I said, now my second question is, what is the story of Atlantis? Do you know? Because Atlantis is a Greek thing, right? So what is the Greek story of Atlantis? People didn't know. They were talking about the civilization that sank under the water. Some even said they had contact with aliens. Out of this world, betul, literally out of this world.
Anunnaki.
Anunnaki. Oh my God, that one is another clown. Anyway, so when I what's the guy who came up with the Anunnaki? I forget his name.
Zakaria Sachin.
Was it Sachin? Was he the first? So when I asked about, nobody knew. I said, okay, let's talk about that first. The story is very cut short. The god of the sea, Poseidon, fell in love with a mortal woman. He wanted to marry her. All the other gods, his brothers and sisters, Athena, Zeus and all, they said, no, you can't. You are a god, she's mortal. There'll be problems. He didn't listen. Poseidon said, no, I like the woman, I want to marry her. He married her. She became his wife. So to protect her from what they said, we'll have calamities or all this. To protect her, he built this great grand land. And in the middle, he had a big mountain and he put her there so she'll be safe. And around the mountain, he made a moat, water ring. 10 moats he made because she gave birth to 5 twins, 10 sons. And each twin ruled one part of the land. It was very successful, the land was doing very well, they were great, everything was going well. Until after a while, a few generations down the line, corruption started. Bribery, greed, human nature. So it became so chaotic, the gods all got together and told Poseidon, "Kan dah cakap." And then Poseidon, being the angry god, he got very angry. He said, "I will destroy this land because it is because of me. It is will destroy this land. I need your help." So Zeus sent his lightning, Poseidon raised the seas, Atlantis sank. That is the story of Atlantis, that you are all talking about aliens and this and that. No, it is mythology. But mythology has reason. But here's an example, I just digress. There's this titan called Kronos. Have you heard of Kronos in Greek mythology? Kronos was, like, the titans are the ones who gave birth to the gods. Titans are greater than the gods. Kronos ate his children as soon as they were born. The minute they were born, he just ate them up. It sounds morbid, right? What kind of person is he? Because some oracle told him that your children will kill you. Someone from your child will kill you. So he ate them up. Now, that story, it's a long story. There's other parts of it. I'll just take that part. That is mythology. Now, why I say mythology has reason is, what is Kronos? When you see time, chronology, a linear event of things according to time. This is a measure of time. Chronometer. Chrono means time. Chronos is time. Time consumes everything. And that is the symbolism in mythology. He ate up everything that was born. Everything that we see around us is creation. Time swallows everything. Everything dies.
Chronology, yeah.
Chronology. So you see the depth of mythology, why mythology is important. There's so many other stories, like when what's his name, Freud. When Freud came up with the concept of the Oedipus complex, he based it on the Greek story by Sophocles, the one who wrote the play.
Sophocles, yeah.
He's the one who wrote the play Oedipus Rex. Oedipus Rex and Oedipus at Colonus. Oedipus Rex, the story is very interesting. Basically, the story is somebody, the oracle will come and tell, your son is going to kill you. Now, this story is prevalent throughout history and throughout all religions. So, the king, what he did is, he said, "Oh, this is bad." So when the wife gives birth to a son, he takes the baby and goes and gives his servant and said, "Take this baby and go and kill him somewhere. I don't want this baby because the oracle said this baby will kill me." So the servant took the baby and went, but the fella tak sampai hati lah. You want to kill a baby. So he went and gave it to a shepherd. And then he said, "You go away, don't come here." So the shepherd went away. And then the king was ruling this land. 20 years passed. So this baby now grows up in the adopted family. When he is 20 years old, he realized the family is he adopted. Then he asked the parents, "Betul ke? I'm not your son." They said, "You are my son. We adopted you, but that doesn't mean you're not my son." But this fellow, being a young guy, he doesn't understand the wisdom of love. He said, "Oh, that means my whole life has been a lie." The fellow ran away. Young, rebellious. So he ran away. As he was walking, a king was coming with his henchmen. The king was going hunting. So the king said, "I'm going hunting. I don't want anyone disturbing my path." So he sends his guards, get him out of the way. So the guards go to push him. And this fellow is strong. He pushes the guards. And then he kills one guard. So the king comes down. "Who the hell are you?" And then he pushes the king. The king falls, hits his head on the rock and dies. And then this guard escapes, he runs away. But this fellow keeps on walking. And then he comes to a kingdom that is in chaos. And he says, "What is going on in this place?" This fellow is a natural born leader. So he goes and he tells the minister, "You do this, 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 this." it'll come back to order. So whatever he says does come to order because he's got good thinking, strategy here. So the minister goes and tells the queen, this fellow is not bad, he's quite smart, you know. So the queen calls him, and then the fellow falls in love with the queen. The queen, after a while, thinks he's younger than me, but I think he can be a good king. She sees it in that way. She marries him, and they have 4 children. And then later she finds out. There's a long story to that, but I'm cutting it short. Later she finds out, and he also finds out that that's his mother, and the king he killed was his father. So the oracle was right. The baby did kill him. He became the king. The queen hanged herself. She killed herself. She couldn't live with that kind of shame. And this fellow blinded himself because he couldn't live with that shame. He said, "This eyes has seen nothing but lies from my adopted family, from nothing but lies." So he blinded himself. It's a tragic story. Now, why Sigmund Freud brought this in was because why is it that male child, especially firstborn male child, are very, very attached to their mother, overprotective of their mother? It is the Oedipus complex. See how mythology and its essence has roots in reality, and how we do not realize that because we just take the story for what it is and we don't understand the depth of the story, the roots of the story. The reason mythology survived thousands of years is because they made the story really fantastical. You know, the guy can fly, like he can hold the world. Like, these stories are not real. They are not even logical. But because they are not logical, they stay in your mind. If you just tell a normal logical story, it will be forgotten by the second person dah habis dah. But you tell an illogical story, people remember. And especially if you go and sing it out. Like Homer, when he sings out the Iliad, he starts with the anger of Achilles. "Oh muse, let me sing." You are interested now to who is this Achilles? Why is he angry? And because he makes it into a song, it makes it soft to hear and to remember. And the story survived thousands of years. Mythology is not something that's created by 1 or 2 people sitting at a table. Mythology is created over tens of thousands of years of studying the human condition. I gave this example in the last meeting of Badang. You know the story of Badang, right? Badang the strong. You know what he had to do to become strong? Do you remember? The most disgusting thing, right? But why was the story like that? Why something disgusting? This is what I learned from Carl Jung. He said, when you have dreams of something that is very disgusting, really jijik, or something that's very scary. Jijik as in something that can be disgustingly humiliating. You slip and fell on tai, or on shit. You fall on shit, and then people are seeing you and they're laughing at you. These kind of things, these kind of dreams. Or you dream that you are sitting here and then you fall, and then there's so much human feces. These kind of dreams are very disgusting. But he says, when you have dreams like that, it is you realizing or starting to detect your potential that is greater than you. But why does it come in this form? So he says, he has a Latin term, in sterquiliniis invenitur. It means, in filth it will be found. You will only find your potential, your greatness, in the place you don't want to look. That's where you'll find, and that's what I meant by going and being honest with your own self. See your own humiliation if you dare. Do you dare see your own humiliation? Do you dare see your own shame? We don't dare. We don't even want to acknowledge. So, because of that, the story of Badang, it must have been observed by the ancestors of the people who came up with that story, the Malay ancestors who saw that dream of something jijik is what leads to the potential. They saw that and they put it into a story. But today, the young people, the intellects, have changed that story. They said when he got the jembalan air tu, he said, I want to be strong, I won't let you go until you give me something. So the jembalan gives him, I don't know, some berlian or something like that. It defeats the purpose. It defeats the purpose of what the biological need is for you to know who you are, what the brain tells you, what your cognitive faculties, what your cerebellum sends forward after processing in codes. And the codes is something dirty and ugly. But that's where you will find your strength, if you dare go through that first. Again, coming back to empiricism. Only when you experience something harsh in life, you will be strong. That which does not kill us only makes us stronger. You know, when it comes so bad to you, after that happened, you find you're still alive. Oh, there must be a reason. Then you start realizing your strength, but you have to go through shit first. You see? That was my digression. But again, mythology. This story of Badang is folklore, but it's a very important story. Very, very important. Pak Pandey. Cerita dia simple. One day Pak Pandey was sitting on the branch and he's sawing this side. The tree is there. The branch is here, he's sawing this side. And he fell to his death. Bodoh eh? But what the ancestors saw, they were saying, this is how intense the message was. The message was, if you do not want to look at things and be better, you want to remain stupid, death comes to you. That is how serious the matter was. That serious now. That our ancestors saw that and tried to put the message through. Don't be stupid. Death will come to you. But we just take it as a story and then we laugh at it. When I was in school, Form 5, I did Sastra Melayu. There was this book that we were doing, Hikayat Malin Deman. A lot of it is macam mythical, the kayangan and all that. But there is reason for that stories. When I was doing that time, I didn't realize that because I did to pass exam. I did because I want to get my C pun dah cukup lah kan. I didn't get C lah anyway. So I studied that just to pass the exam. But many years later, I thought about that story and I thought about the depth of that story. There's so much, you know. That's why I go back now to read the old mythologies of the world. Whether it's Greek mythology, Malay folklore, Indian mythology, whatever mythology I can get my hands on, I want to read. And then what I do is, I compare it to that life of the people then. If you compare the Mayans, the Aztec people then, how they lived then, and then you look at their mythology then, how it applies to them, you extract truths out of it, and that truth applies even today. So mythology is very important. It's not important because you must believe it is true, but you must understand what it says. The rabbit and the tortoise, the story of Aesop. Rabbit and the tortoise had a race, and the tortoise won the race. I mean, it's not logical, but that's not the intention of the story. The story intends to teach you a moral value, that humility always wins, arrogance always loses. What you're supposed to take is the morality of the story, the rationale, extract the essence. The story is entertainment, but the essence is lesson. So, I will end this by saying that it is most important, this is about Kant again, it is very important to distinguish between the man and the results of his work. An example here would be Bob Marley. I love Bob Marley's work. I think he's a great writer. He's very philosophical. I mean, his line, the stone that the builder refuses shall be the head cornerstone. That is deep, you know. When I first heard it, I didn't know what it meant. I was in my teens. But later I started studying his lyrics, his words. He was singing mostly about poverty, singing about social conditioning and all that. But that line is biblical. But it goes beyond the Bible part of it. It actually means this: just because you're authority and you don't agree with the fellow who disagrees with you and you put him aside, that doesn't mean he's wrong. Because the Romans said, I'm authority, and they told Jesus, you are wrong. They killed him. But he became the head cornerstone. He became the establishment. The Roman Empire died. Actually, no, to be honest, this one is again a segue. Roman Empire didn't die. They just rebranded. They are now called Catholicism. They are now called Catholics. They are still the same. They did the ultimate brilliant thing. They killed the fella and then it was a mistake to kill him, because after killing him, he became an idea. He's no more a man. Once you're an idea, you cannot touch the idea. And the idea goes into the people. And the people rose against the Romans. They didn't want to pay their taxes. So the Romans, this was three-dimensional thinking. They thought, we have screwed up. Now they are rising against us. We can't do anything. Then someone came up with the idea and said, you know what we do? We say he was right. How are we going to do that? No, we will do that. We'll just say, hey, you know what? We made a mistake. The guy was right. Jesus was right. Then they turned it 180. They brought a guy named Saul from Jerusalem. They brought him to a place called Corinth in Italy. And here he's talking bad about Jesus. They paid him to talk bad. He's a professional. They paid him to talk bad about him. He did. And they did a damn good job. Now they want to turn the story. They brought him here because he's a good speaker, orator. Brought him here and changed his name to Paul. And they asked him to say good things about Jesus. That time, no internet, no phone. So people in the Middle East don't know about Paul. They don't know it's Saul. So they thought, hey, there's this guy named Paul, and he's there, and he's saying good things. That means, okay lah, now they macam, okay lah, they come down a bit. They redha sikit. And then they start paying the taxes. And now people around the world are still paying taxes, but they call it donations. The Vatican City is making money out of it. The Vatican City is the Roman Empire capital. The Roman Empire didn't die. They in fact flourished. They in fact became bigger when they made a 180. That's a side story. I mean, there's a lot of side stories like the Jews that we know today. The Jews, when something is blue, you will say it's blue. It's a blue car. But when something is not really blue, it's bluish. So you have Jewish. You see, the Jews that we know today, Europeans, who were then transported to what is now Israel, they are all Europeans. They are not originally Jews. They are the Khazars. They are the old English name for the Khazars are Cossacks. They are from Eastern Europe, which is today Kazakhstan. They are warriors. I wouldn't say, warring people. They lived on the open steppes. Between Russia and Mongolia, they lived on the open steppes. Their lifestyle was simple. If I come and take something from you, it belongs to me. If you can kill me and take it back, then it belongs back to you. Their law is brutal. Okay, but that is their culture. It is based on their god called Tengri, which is the god that Chinggis Khan used to worship. The culture is known as Tengriism. So their law is simple. I'll come and take whatever I like, whatever I want, and it belongs to me. If you can take it back, then oh good lah, then you win lah. But if I take it, then it's mine lah. That's their law. So they started infiltrating from your view. This is the globe. This is East Europe. They are infiltrating Western Europe, Mid-Europe, Western Europe. And after many generations, they started ruling Western Europe through economy. They took over. But 400 years ago or 300 years ago, they converted from Tengriism to Judaism. They are not real Jews. They are the converted people to Judaism. And they brought their culture on the label of Judaism into Europe. And they started taking over Europe. Now you understand why Hitler hated them. There was reason. Hitler, he didn't really hate the Jews. He hated the Khazars. But Hitler didn't know that they were Khazars because they come under the label of Jew. The original Jew, the real Jew, is not even white. The real Jew are people from originally what is now today known as Ethiopia. Because the man we call Jesus spoke Aramaic. The official language of Ethiopia today is Amharic. That was the older language that he spoke. He was a Jew. And his name wasn't even Jesus, right? I mean, it's a misinterpretation of language speaking. Jesus, because J is J in English, but it comes from Spanish. But J is H in Spanish, so it was Jesus. And that one comes from the Greek, Yeshua. And Yeshua comes from the Middle East, but that one comes from Ethiopia. Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the African word for God, which is now the Jehovah Witness called Yahweh. It's Yahweh. Shai means child. Yahweh Shai, the child of God. That was most probably his original name in his vernacular. So you see how if a name can be so mispronounced, can you imagine the message, how far misinterpreted it will be after so many translations? That's why, again, now I can apply Kant again. We have to doubt. Even what I say now, doubt it. Doubt it and do the research. But what I give you now is material. I could be wrong, I don't know. All I know is from what I compared, this one looks right. And I compared to many over the last 40 years. So I can say I have come close to, if not the truth, at least I think I'm close to the truth. Because the original Jews are different people who are now forgotten, gone. You know, some of them I think don't even exist. But these East Europeans who came, they were, I don't agree with the way Hitler did it, you know, but I understand why he wanted to get rid of them. Churchill did the same thing. He got rid of the Jews. He didn't kill them. He sent them to Israel. He bought a land there. He went and spoke to Jordan and Egypt and said, okay, this land these fellows are not using, right? Can I send these fellows here? Because I don't want them there. Because they are taking over my economy. They send them there. So they went there with the Tengri culture. I will take what I want. They are the Khazars who are still practicing the Tengri culture, not the Judaic culture. But the Jews have their own faults as well. There are a lot of things that I really don't agree with how the Jews are. Because of their, I am the chosen one by God. The rest of the world, you're all mud. I said, sorry, bro, I don't accept that shit. You know? So that, when you have that in your thinking already, you are wrong beyond, totally wrong already. You know? But they also have some good thoughts. The word Israel means struggle with God. The one who was called Israel, his real name was Jacob. He had a struggle with Jibrail and he broke his thigh fighting with Jibrail at night. But Jibrail said, you fought well and you fought with honesty. From now you will be known as the one who struggled with God. Israel. Oh, that reminds me. There's this company called Denel from South Africa. It was, I think still is, fully owned by Israel. But it operates in South Africa. They do land arms, land-to-air missiles, anti-aircraft missiles and all that. Malaysia buys anti-aircraft missiles from Denel. Our policy is not to have any business with Israel. But we do business with companies by Israel outside of Israel. When I came to know of that, and I know of that because I spoke to the Israeli when I was in Singapore for defense. I used to work in a defense magazine. So when I spoke to the guy, and he said, yeah, your country buys from us. I said, no, we do not buy anything from you. He laughed. He said, Denel. I said, Denel is South African. He said, who do you think owns it? And then it made sense. Then El is Israel for God, is Jewish, Hebrew for God. El, Michael, Jibrael, is from L, God. L is God. Then L means something, judgment of God or something like that. Then it made sense to me. Yeah, betul lah. L, like Allah, is the one. So company policy and country policy sometimes differ. Country policy will bend to company policy because of, but then again, it's economics. So I am torn between what I also believe now. So I have to again go back into questioning myself lah. Betul gini. that to me is the ultimate question lah. Betul gini. Even when you tell me something about truth, I still have to, unless I know it's truth, the first time this is a bottle. Betul lah. I cannot, betul gini. That's stupid. But if you tell me this inside here is some other chemical, I don't know. I think it's water, but he says no, it's not water, it's some kind of acid. Now I can say betul ni, because I don't know. Then I'll go about to find out. So I ended with Kant's view of doubt is the most important gift he gave us, and we all have Kant to thank for that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, saudara-saudara, di atas kupasan yang sedikit agak mendasar dan pelbagai isu dibincangkan. Jadi saya kira tanpa kita lengahkan masa, mungkin ada sebarang pertanyaan, lontaran, pandangan berkaitan dengan 7 kritik yang disenaraikan. Sangat precise. Saya membaca sepintas lalu, saya melihat ini ada pembawaan ataupun ada orientasi seperti mana gaya dalam penulisan Spinoza, ethics, dan juga yang terbaru seperti mana Wittgenstein menulis Tractatus Logico. Itu sangat precise. Jadi saya buka seperti mana biasa yang kita lazimkan dalam setiap wacana. Sekiranya para pendiskusi punya apa-apa pandangan, pertanyaan untuk kita lanjuti kupasan ini ataupun diskusi ini, supaya kita mendapatkan jalur kebenarannya. Jadi saya buka dulu kepada para pendiskusi, sekiranya ada apa-apa sebarang pertanyaan, soalan, pandangan, bahkan mungkin kritik-kritik juga, kritik ke atas kritik-kritik beberapa pembicara. Sekiranya ada. Ya. Ya, Dr. Nizam.
I think masa Mr. Liu punya ni pun saya bahaskan benda yang quite the same. And I think my point is quite the same lah, sebab kita sepakat kan. I think the problem dengan philosophy is that philosophy ni is a projection of human punya activity. Minat segala knowledge yang diproduce oleh filosofi ke sains ke semua is a reflection of humans. And I think kita kena acknowledge bahawa humans ni ada limitation in terms of benda yang dia nak tahulah, right? Kita kena acknowledge bahawa tak semua benda kita boleh tahu. Macam mana saya nak organize my thoughts around this? Macam before this, I think I've questioned myself, sebab I'm not a religious person. Walaupun hari Jumaat saya kata I'm not a religious person, but I think I'm a spiritual person lah. Alright, I think religious sekarang ni kita tend to tie it with an organised and institutionalized punya concept. Alright, so I think during my 20s, alright, saya belajar kat New Zealand, nak save my money, saya pergi gereja untuk makan. Sebab gereja makan ni free. Every Sunday makan free. So to save my money,
practical.
So I have debates with them over certain things lah. While we agree they should be God, tapi then kita disagree on certain things lah. I think on that. However, I'm very spiritual, but I think kalau ikut masa tu, I think I'm a very scientific person as well. I trust science. Saya percaya pada logik, saya percaya reason, right? However, I think apa yang buatkan saya still spiritual until now is that I think I acknowledge bahawa everything yang kita belajar ni is a product of us humans. Alright? Tak kisahlah, for instance, Kant, dia kritik benda macam ni, tapi dia tengok benda tu him as a human.
Yeah.
Dia ada limit dia.
Yes.
Dia ada limit dia. Tak kisahlah Aristotle ke apa benda. And I got this concept apabila saya buat PhD, saya baca work daripada Martin Heidegger lah. Di mana Martin Heidegger the question semua balik knowledge yang kita produce along this world. Right? Because why? Because it turns out by Heidegger punya I think Heidegger punya buku review by Stephen Mohal itu saya suggest bagus lah untuk dibaca about Heidegger punya philosophy kan. Heidegger dia punya understanding ialah the mistake of all the philosophers and scientists or whatsoever before this ialah dia tak define manusia tu apa. That's why they come up dengan being and time. They come up dengan those concepts lah. So in order for you to achieve truth, you should understand you as a human being itself and how you are dalam time lah, dalam masa, because we change as human beings kan. Because the contentious issue is that kalau kita change within time, adakah knowledge tu itself change? Therefore they can affect truth lah. So and then I think there's a limit as well. Because why? Because macam I think Dr. Saiful tengah buat the translation which is by siapa tu pun? Wittgenstein. Yes, I think Wittgenstein dia punya rumusan hujung tu ialah if you don't have any knowledge then don't speak. Tak ada knowledge alright. And so kat situ maknanya Wittgenstein himself acknowledge bahawa there's a limit to human understanding.
Yes. But
as a species, saya percaya bahawa there's a limit for us as well. Takkan tak ada semua benda kita tahu. Kalau dalam Quran tu dia cakap you ambil semua pokok, you jadikan pen, you ambilkan air sebagai dakwat, takkan habis knowledge daripada Tuhan tu, takkan habis.
Yes.
Right? And I think the problem with philosophers is that itu dia anggap bahawa everything can be known. Sedangkan kalau tak ada the unknown tu, there's nothing to be known lah. Kita kena tahu benda yang kita tak tahu baru kita nak achieve untuk tahu. Alright? Tapi I think that's the flaw of science as well. Dia assume bahawa by science you boleh tahu everything dan sebagainya. And I think that's where faith comes in. I think you mentioned a lot about faith lah. I think that's where faith comes in lah. Whereby faith, I think faith scriptures is the only text ataupun dokumen yang bagi tahu you yang you tak tahu apa.
Yes.
If you read the scriptures
Yes.
right? If you read the Quran, for instance, I think I'm a Muslim, right? If you read the Quran, I view it as a dialogue between God and Muhammad, right? Dengan Prophet lah. As if macam Prophet Muhammad bertanyakan soalan and then here's the answer. Unfortunately, apa yang dia tanya tu tak di text ni kan lah, right? So for instance, macam lots of things benda tu macam speak. That's why we cannot say that it's a codified law, scripture ni. It requires interpretation dan sebagainya because it depends on context dan sebagainya lah. So I think the issue with Kant nak understand, and then Kant himself, I think dia tak realise dulu, that's why dia cuba bridgekan benda tu.
Yes.
I think you cannot ever bridge yourself with the unknown lah, especially dengan Tuhan. I mean you have modern scientific punya instruments, you boleh tahu black hole dekat millions and billions of light years away, but you'll never know. You'll never know. In fact benda tu pun it's from data. Kita pun tak tahu sebenarnya warna dia sebenarnya macam mana. Itu just the data yang kita process and then
anggapan dia.
Yes, anggapan. We will never know. And I think in pursuit of truth kita kena understand that there are certain things that we have to be, kita kena ownership, kita takkan tahu. Right, kita takkan tahu. And I think that's a problem with atheism dan sebagainya because they don't acknowledge that. Tapi dia percaya pada alien. Kan macam pelik kan. I mean it's easy for you to accept ada terrestrial apa alien rather than understanding God kan. Alright. Dan kan dua benda tu kalau by nature kita pun tak tahu. But I think by knowing the unknown, bahawa unknown tu exist. Alright. And I think that's where spiritual comes in lah. Because itu je the only concept ataupun the only thing yang ada yang boleh open up kita kepada towards accepting that lah. So itu I think my not my critique actually of Kant, tapi my critique of the most of Western philosophy.
Yes.
My critique of most of Western philosophies lah. So itu just I think masa Mr. Liu pun I mention quite the same point jugalah. Sebab fundamentally semua ni is a product of us. And kita ni flawed beings alright. But that's why the debate, that's why dan sebagainya lah. So itu just my opinion on it lah.
Baik, terima kasih Dr. Nizam. Any response, Saudara Sarah?
I completely agree with that, especially about the age of enlightenment. That's when I think my last topic in my second book, which I'm in the midst of writing now, is called Darkness of the Enlightenment. You see, if you go to classical philosophy, if you go back to the ancient Greeks, they could see truth clearly, at least more clearly than the Enlightenment people. Like from the time of Descartes to Camus, they became more and more lost. Camus lagi tu absurd. Everything is absurd. Life has no meaning. Tapi dia ada bini, ada anak. Are you telling me that there's no meaning to that? You committed yourself to becoming a husband, to becoming a father, and then you say life has no meaning. Who are you? You're lying to yourself. You know, absurd. But you lived a life with meaning. So I agree with you. Most of the Western philosophers, especially from the Enlightenment onwards, were very lost. Macam, you know, have you heard of Schrödinger, the physicist, the Schrödinger's cat? Sampai level macam tu. Your theory can go until that level, and then you treat it like it's a reality. The cat in the box, there are 100 different ways the cat is, not can be, is. It's alive and it's dead and it's sick all at the same time. But when you open, you will only see one.
Itu tamsilan dia yang dia buat untuk bagi senang orang faham, betul tak?
Sorry?
Itu analogi.
Analogi tamsilan.
Yeah, but you see, the analogy that he gives is something that cannot be applied even in reality. How can you say there are 500,000 possibilities that are not possibilities but are realities, and they all collapse into one upon observation? So then again, faith. When you have the light that goes through the slit, right? You see only 2 bars when you're observing. But when you don't observe, you turn off the cameras, you come back and see the results of the many bars. So then they come up with other theories. Maybe the light, when it goes like this, because it's going this way, it crosses over. So you can come up with theories, but you still cannot explain in full knowledge, for sure, concrete, why it became so many bars instead of just the 2. They call that the observer effect, right? That's where faith comes in. Why is it that it doesn't show you when you want to see? Why does it show itself differently when you are not seeing? And you'll find that in all religions teaching that. The Indian religion has this thing about when this shepherd wanted to play hide and seek with Lord Krishna. He calls Krishna and Krishna comes. And he says, I want to play hide and seek. The shepherd is a boy, a small boy. So Krishna says, okay, let's play hide and seek. So he says, you go and hide, I will seek. So Krishna goes and hides. So the shepherd comes and looking for Krishna, he cannot find. After a while, he starts doubting, hey, did Krishna really come? Is he really here? And then the whole day until night, he couldn't find Krishna. Then he goes back home and he cries. You know, I cried, I looked for you everywhere, you never came and all that. Then the voice of Krishna comes to his head and says, you doubted. Once you doubt, his doubt was disbelief. Remember, between reasonable doubt and disbelief, his doubt was disbelief. So Krishna said, you doubted because you didn't believe. I cannot come to you when you have no belief. You have to believe, you have to have faith. It's not no more just evidence. It goes beyond that. It is the silence between the chords in music. It's not there, but because it's not there, it's music. So yes, faith is what modern philosophers have not. They do not have faith.
But I'm not disregarding the philosophy of Kant. I think Kant's philosophy is important now, especially we have AI. Because I think the quest of computer science is trying to build humans sebenarnya.
Yeah.
If you look at our technology now, it's becoming more human and more human. But fundamentally, I think computer doesn't work as humans do. But they have a lot of processing power. There's an illusion bahawa dia macam human. It's actually not, right? And I think to counter that is from philosophies like this, right? Because I've read this one article about philosophy of technology in a theological philosophical discussion. Philosophy, theology in a theological discussion, right? The thing is about science and everything, we tend to create things that mirror us. You create ChatGPT to mirror how computers should speak as a human, right? You create chairs and everything so that you feel comfortable. So they are a mirror of human beings in all of our creations, right? Television, right? So that you can to emulate sadness, joy, or anything when you watch movies or whatsoever, right? So that's why I think that's coming back to my earlier point. That's why I think everything has a limitation, because everything is basically it's a human-made thing.
Yeah.
Even the knowledge that we have now is basically produced or maybe discovered by or made to be known by humans. So it came from a very limited capacity actually.
Yes.
It came from a very limited capacity, and we should acknowledge that, which I think that's the flaw of Western philosophy. But I think it's important in that sense because we have a scientific dominance. We have right now a very we have a very scientific dominance on the production of knowledge. Right? It's surprising. I study creativity. Right, creativity as cognitive psychology in design, right? There's a discussion right now that AI can emulate creative things. They can also produce artwork. Then it's a big debate in the creativity studies now. Either can we say that AI is creative or not? Right? Because creativity is seen as a very human thing. Now AI can basically produce videos, can create videos, everything. So can we say that they are creative as well?
I wouldn't say that, because can AI make a mistake?
Yes, I mean that's my. But it is still refining. I'm not saying that AI is good or bad, but
Potential.
I think, yes, I mean I'm saying that it's a product of human beings. There must be flaws in it. All right, but at the same time, philosophically, it mirrors us as well. Right? You can type in ChatGPT, can you speak like me? He basically, from the analyzation of your previous exchanges, they can basically talk and speak like you. Right? Okay, so they can mirror you yourself up to that point now. Right? So that's why I think it is important for this kind of discussion card and everything to be continuously discussed, to differentiate logic and reason. Right, logic and reason, because we are dominated by dominated by science for so long. Dan kadang tu kita everything assume bahawa everything should be explained logically and coherently, right? Instead of using reason and much more abstract things, yes, interpretation and those kind of things. So the limits of knowledge, itu my understanding. I mean, because the topic is critic of Kant.
Yes.
But to me, that's why I never take philosophy seriously, because I believe that I'm a very, if I'm a philosopher, I'm a very practical philosopher.
Pragmatic.
Yes, pragmatic. All right, meaning that if that philosophy is good to me, all right, improves my life, then I will use that philosophy lah. I will engage in it lah. However, I think there needs to be that. The idea needs to be somehow promoted as well, right? Otherwise, kita akan lose kita punya humanities, because by melalui humanities kita create things through technology, and then dia akan eat kita balik, right? And I think that's one of the things of philosophy of technology yang people discuss di mana technology will eat itself lah. Kita pakai handphone hari ni, 2 tahun ni kita beli handphone baru. It's the same thing. You use it to call people, to browse the internet, right? Tapi dia akan eat yang lama. I think kalau komputer iPhone sekarang pun, kalau 5 tahun, 4 years back pun dah tak boleh update dah.
Yeah.
Right? Itu tak campur lagi dengan kapitalism dan sebagainya tu. Ada jadi cerita lain lah. Kan? But itu I think maybe I'm not saying things coherently at the moment, tapi itu things yang at my thoughts.
No, but isn't that what philosophy is supposed to be? Pragmatic. that is what philosophy should mean, the love for wisdom.
Yes.
You know, but the problem is these philosophers, the Western philosophers especially, they have the love for the intellect, the love for everything that is evident. You know, like when Camus said absurdism, he feels that's the be all and all. Itulah, itu je. But he doesn't know that it's limited. He doesn't know that. They don't realize that. They don't have the wisdom, the love for wisdom. They have the love for the reason and the intellect. But they think that's philosophy. It's not. I go back to classical philosophy in the West. That's philosophy. If you look at Asian philosophy, old philosophy like Taoism, you know, the yin and yang, so much depth to it. You have the chaos and order, and you have a dot of each in the other. That's the balance. You must have a little bit of chaos in order. You must have a little bit of order in chaos. And this is not something new. It's ancient. The Mesopotamians saw that, and they created Marduk. You know, they killed the creator, the god, chaos, order. When they killed order, Tiamat rose from the sea. She came with chaos. When you kill order, the next thing that will be born is chaos. That's the balance of nature. You know? So they saw this thousands of years ago. And today, because we think we know science, or because we've labeled it, we think we can trump the old knowledge. So we say, in order to be a scientist, you have to first understand that there is no God. This is postmodern science. The old scientists are not like that. Sampai Albert Einstein, he believed in God. Isaac Newton believed in God. But look at the discoveries he made. And he attributed it to God. He said, look at the wonders of God. Humble. But the scientist today, I found this. There's no such thing as God. And he's limited to that finding alone. He cannot grow beyond that. He doesn't have the capacity. Because he thinks everything stops there. Macam ni tahu lah, I dah tahu semua. Banyak ni.
Okey, ada apa-apa lagi pandangan daripada pendiskusi kita? Sekiranya ada kesempatan ya, Saudara Hasan.
Okay. I think first we need to come back with what Kant really bring into the philosophy is on epistemology. Okay, how do we know what we know? Alright. So by that context, that's the reason why he tried to refute Hume. That means we call too radical on empiricism, and then so-called dogmatic rationalism. So these two is considered epistemology.
Yes.
So we need to understand the context of the critic itself is on epistemology. That means if we want to critique Immanuel Kant, we responsible to bring epistemology.
Okay.
Okay. So, and I see the way that you explain. Okay, good. But I didn't see what epistemology that you suggest. Yes, by your demonstration, I think you are tend towards the so-called wisdom. But I need you to define that. What is the wisdom? Is it that something like inexplainable, only the one that experience? I mean those type of wisdom, or there is a specific wisdom that you suggest, and that is a epistemology that is better than what Immanuel Kant is. I think we should focus on that because the key is epistemology, and if we critique Kant, we critique the epistemology of it. All right?
Yeah, the core is there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Sarah.
In true Kantian spirit. You see, that's the gift he gave us.
Yeah.
That is one of the greatest gifts he gave us. Now, coming to wisdom, I think the understanding.
Okay, first, is it you suggest wisdom as an epistemology?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
that's what I
Because
said.
just now I assume, because when you shared about mythology and what message that we can learn,
Yes.
it remind me of Jordan Peterson,
Mhm.
okay,
Ah.
with archetype, all these things, right?
Yeah.
So with symbols, all that. So
John Peterson has got it right, but some things I don't agree with him.
no, it's fine. No,
Yeah,
we
but
all
some
have,
things,
yeah.
some things I think he has got right.
So I just make assumptions. So I just want to validate that.
Yes.
So you are propose wisdom
Yes.
as epistemology.
Yes,
Okay, alright.
because I'm basing it simply on the fact that we are discussing philosophy,
Mhm.
and philosophy is the love for
Wisdom.
wisdom. Yeah. So wisdom being the understanding of the world around us, and then how we apply ourselves with that understanding about the world, instead of having a theory about the world around us. We can have 100 different theories about the world around us. We don't know if they are right. We don't even know if they are wrong. We can come to a certain conclusion that maybe this is right based on this. But wisdom is the surety of your understanding of the world. And like what Socrates, I don't know if Socrates said this, but they always attribute it to him. I know that I know nothing.
Mhm.
And that is the ultimate wisdom. I know that I know nothing. But what that means is not that I don't know anything. I do know that I know nothing. There's so much to learn, and that is the wisdom. Because my wisdom is knowing that I know this, but I don't know that. So I will keep on going to learn. Science has that. Science basic words are I don't know, so I want to learn. Sorry, I should rephrase. Science had that.
Mhm.
From the time of Copernicus to Galileo to Isaac Newton, even to Einstein. But postmodern science, postmodern everything, postmodern correctness, postmodern cultures, the woke culture and all that, they have gone on a tangent from what is value. They have forgotten that. Today they have gone to the point where they can't tell the difference between a man and a woman. What is a man? Oh, I don't know. I can't really tell. And AI says that because, like you say, AI is our creation. It will mirror us. It can mirror us, but it cannot be us. Because to give just kiasan lah, what you see in the mirror is the exact replica of me. But the difference is that's two-dimensional, I am three. It can never be me. It can mirror me to the exact dot, but it can never be me. That's why my question is, will AI make a mistake? AI will make a miss in the algorithm, but it will not make a mistake.
Yes.
A mistake is only done by people, because we are conscious of what we do and then we do something wrong. But AI does everything to the dot, digitized. The ones and zeros are so accurate that if something goes wrong, it's not a mistake. It may be a mishap, it may be a misconnection, something, but not a mistake. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have the sentient mind. AI is a fantastic tool, but that's what it is, a tool. I mean, of course, we are also tools, you know? But the AI tool is so limited, but it is so advanced, almost paradoxical, isn't it? I mean, it is so advanced but so limited because AI cannot create something. It doesn't have the creativity to do something. It can create what has been fed to it. ChatGPT will do exactly what you want from it. Now, to get it to the exact point of what you want, it is important how you give instructions to it. If your instructions are like just there, it'll give you just that much. But if you give very tight, detailed instructions, you'll get very close to what you actually want, almost exact. But it is doing it because you are feeding it. Cuba kalau you don't feed anything, see what AI does on its own. It doesn't do anything on its own. On its own. But because it's connected to the entire world, it looks like it's doing something on its own because somebody else is feeding somewhere else and it's doing it. But on its own, it's not doing. Like if you leave us in the desert, one person in the desert, he will have to do something on his own. Remember the movie Castaway? Tom Hanks? He's stuck on the island alone. He had to do something on his own to survive. He had to relearn about his own self. AI, as of now, I don't think AI has the capacity to study itself and say, oh, actually I should be like this. To have moral values, to have these things, moral or even vice. Sorry? Kesedaran. That is something he doesn't. But scary that there is a possibility, because look at human evolution. From what to what? Look at the computer evolution. In the 1950s, the computer was a 2-story building, one computer. It's got reels and all that. And then in the 70s, it became a small gadget on the table, PC, Steve Jobs.
So capitalism.
And now it's here. It's evolved from computing, calculating and computing. It came to logics, base logics, and then it came to fuzzy logics in the late 80s. And then now it's come to artificial intelligence. What is the next step? Consciousness? I mean, it looks like it's headed that way. Yes, sir.
AI ni bukan AI lah. The next adalah intelligent machine. Tapi kriteria yang ada sekarang adalah super intelligent machine. It's not intelligent machine lah. Sebab teorem yang diorang dapat tu, teorem ni 10 tahun lepas lah. Teorem yang menjelaskan apakah yang dimaksudkan sebagai kebijaksanaan dan tidak kebijaksanaan. Maksudnya selain daripada kebijaksanaan, sebab kebijaksanaan ni boleh mencipta, kepandaian tidak. Kepandaian boleh mencipta. Kalau orang kata kepada kita, anak kau ni pandai lah, itu berbeza dengan kalau dia kata anak kau ni pintar. Bijaksana jauh lagi lah. Bijaksana ni dia boleh menilai, pintar ni dia boleh mencipta. Jadi teorem matematik yang boleh mengkelaskan apa dia kepintaran dan apa bukan kepintaran itu telah ditemui 10 tahun lepas. Tapi saya tak nampak lagi lah dia punya result tu. Saya ingat orang masih cuba untuk refine that theorem lah. Theorem tu guna statistik. Siapa belajar probability tahu lah. Bayesian theory.
Bayesian theory. B-A-Y-E-S-I-N.
Kemungkinan berlaku sesuatu berbanding dengan keseluruhan kemungkinan lah. Sebab cara kita berfikir ni adalah kita mesti memilih satu kemungkinan daripada keseluruhan kemungkinan. Contohnya kalau kita kata macam mana daripada sini nak pergi Kuala Lumpur, otak kita akan fikir beberapa perkara. Contohnya jalan kaki, basic lah, tumpang kereta orang, naik motosikal, basikal, naik kapal terbang, naik kereta api. Tapi kita akan pilih satu. Kenapa kita pilih satu? Semuanya reasonable, kan? Semuanya jalan kaki boleh, naik motor boleh, basikal boleh, berenang pun boleh. Tapi kita akan pilih satu. Itu kepintaran. AI takkan pilih tu. AI takkan pilih sebab apa? Sebab orang lain mungkin tak pilih yang itu, akan pilih juga yang kita nak pilih itu.
Algoritma bilang.
Algoritma sajalah.
Yes.
Jadi AI tu, kalau kita kata saya sebenarnya nak pergi Kuala Lumpur tapi saya akan buat kereta dulu, AI takkan fikir tu. Saya akan buat kereta dahulu di kilang ini dan saya boleh pergi. Dia tak buat, manusia akan buat lah. So manusia pintar. Cuma bila siapa yang kalah dengan Deep Blue tu, siapa yang kalah dengan main chess dengan Deep Blue, Kasparov.
Kasparov.
Dia kalah dengan Deep Blue kan.
Yang mesin.
Yang dia kata dia demam. Dia bagi alasan dia demam kat kali kalah, kali kedua dia tak boleh kata apa kan. Itu hanyalah disebabkan algoritma Deep Blue itu ditambah. Pada satu saat boleh, manusia boleh operate satu saat, tak salah saya 18 step. That machine trillion. Saya ingat dia dah study seluruh part tu kan. Tapi sebelum tahun 2000 itu Deep Blue sentiasa kalah. Bayangkan kepintaran Kasparov itu. Dia boleh kalahkan semua algoritma. Adakah dia mampu untuk menilai 1 juta step? Tak. Dia boleh membuat satu step yang cerdik. Lagi satu yang another problem dalam machine adalah dia tak boleh menipu. That's the kan? Okey lah, you tahu bahawa kalau you nak bunuh dia punya queen, you kena pakai step ni. Tapi you just play. buat move yang tak ada alasan, that machine collapse. Sebab apa? Dia nak cari you punya reason, kenapa you buat move tu.
Yeah.
Sedangkan kita aim tempat lain, ini macam orang berperang kan, kita tembak sebelah sana kan, kita aim sebelah sana, hantar orang kan, tapi kita tembak sebelah ni. So kita akan fikir, kenapa dia tembak sana? Kan? Dia tak sedar bahawa kita sedang hantar another team untuk bunuh dia. Kan? That's the same lah. Machine ni tidak boleh, the reason is very good, tapi dia tidak boleh pintar buat keputusan yang dikatakan keputusan manusia. Tapi itulah, teorem itu dah kata dah boleh dah, tapi saya tak jumpa dia punya yang baru lah.
So in your opinion ada tak possibility that the machine boleh jadi self-conscious?
Okay, yang saya rasa yang berlaku adalah nanti, ini yang kita takutkan lah, di Jerman dah buat half human, half machine. Dia dah buat lah, eksperimen dia dah buat, kita kena masuk dekat web-web yang dark web.
How machine, how?
Dia letak benda machine dalam dia punya brain.
Implant chip ke?
Itu yang letak dekat tangan, tapi yang sekarang dia punya kehidupan adalah dekat otak. So apa yang berlaku adalah yang cuba dibuatlah, teori dia adalah bila sesuatu otak itu berfungsi tidak boleh menyelesaikan itu. Contohnya kita nak menyelesaikan masalah kesesakan di Kuala Lumpur. Okey. Apa dia masalah itu? Masalahnya adalah pada satu masa sangat sesak dan tak boleh handle. Okey. So machine akan boleh kata kepada kita keadaan sesak. That is all. Okey. Lepas tu dia suruh kepada kita selesaikan.
Ada half lah. Ada half.
Manusia, alamak, dia kata dia dah kata sesak, macam mana aku pula kena selesaikan? Manusia tak boleh sampai kepada tahap nak mengetahui dia sesak. Mesin. Tapi mesin beritahu pada dia balik, sekarang ni memang sesak, kau selesaikanlah. Sebab mesin tidak boleh selesaikan masalah tu. Dia tak pintar. Jadi itu sebab dia kata, okey, kita beritahu mesin bahawa apa dia kesesakan, lepas tu beritahu kepada kita balik semula macam mana nak selesaikan. Itu adalah humanoid lah. Humanoid lah. Kan? Sebab manusia tak boleh nak melihat kesesakan itu. Mesin tu je boleh.
Scary kan?
Scary.
Tapi kalau consciousness, to what extent dia nak kena conscious tu, bukan macam kalau kita mungkin kita akan letak, kalau saya lah tu, kehidupan kebijaksanaan ni adalah, maksudnya dia ada after effect lah, maksudnya kehidupan selepas mati lah kot, betul tak? Untuk saya, bijaksana adalah we are preparing for afterlife lah, betul tak? Consciousness tu maksudnya
itu,
dia
kalau preparing afterlife itu keseluruh kebenaran. Dia bukan kebijaksanaan. Kebijaksanaan ni lah keupayaan kita untuk membuat suatu pemilihan atau dua pemilihan untuk menyelesaikan masalah. Strategic kejeli. Strategic kejeli. It's not about reasoning. Reasoning sebelum tu. Dia actually strategic. Pemilihan yang tepat,
pemilihan yang
untuk menyelesaikan masalah.
Tapi mesin kat situ je lah, betul tak?
Tak, mesin sebenarnya dalam menganalisa seluruh masalah.
Cuma dia akan bagi
dia bagi kita choice lah.
Cuma tak, yang back to Mr. Sarah punya what is next? Next dia jawab tadi consciousness.
I'm just talking about possibilities lah. Macam you know what,
actually,
the movie
consciousness adalah satu step di depan daripada kepintaran.
Maksudnya
dia lebih advance lagi.
Dia precede kepintaran lah.
Dia lebih. Jadi yang di aim sekarang adalah kepintaran ini.
That's what I'm very apprehensive about lah. Takut lah, because you know the movie Terminator 2 Part 2. I think that was the best of the Terminators lah. The boy will ask in the car, how did all this happen? So Schwarzenegger is the machine kan. He said the machine has been studying human beings and their thinking semua for 10 years, and the study is it's exponential kan. So in 10 years it has gathered enough information on the human behavior pattern around the world in all cultures and come up with the thing. And then the way he says it, on the 8th of August 2000 something, he said the machine at 2 p.m. Greenwich Meridian, bukan main detail. And he said it became self-aware. When he said that, I felt scared. I'm just watching a movie now.
Oh, self-aware.
Yes, it became self-aware. Now that
Maksudnya
is
siapa yang aware tu, betul?
that's the
question
thing.
is siapa yang aware?
dia yang aware. Machine dah
aware.
is conscious of itself. So now it says, I now know who I am, what I can do, and the human being cannot do what I can do.
Yeah.
So human being is below me. And that's what will happen if even now dah ada proof. You know AlphaGo.
Ya, apa?
AlphaGo, they started that 10 years or 15 years ago they started. Macam chess lah, they asked the machine to play chess with everyone around the world. It plays with one person maybe, let's say 10 times lah. It plays with 1 million people 10 times. How many times has it learned now? And the fear is, what if it is also learning how to lie? Not in the sense that we lie, but how to deceive, to make deceptive moves as strategy. Not as a conscious lie, but it's in the machine, it sees this as a strategy. That means it doesn't see anything wrong with the lie. It sees it as strategy, and that's where morality starts to die. Because the machine cannot understand moral, ethics and all. Machine cannot know that. But the machine will do everything perfect. You know, Age of Ultron in the Avengers. If you read the comic, it's better. Ultron is a machine that has become self-aware.
Maaf saya.
Okay, good.
Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you.
Doktor. Kita jumpa nanti di lain wacana.
Okay. But there will be a recording, eh?
Ya, no boleh. Nanti saya share.
So the machine is self-aware, and the machine feels the only way to make this world a better place is to kill the human beings, because the human beings are destroying everything.
Yes.
The machine is not wrong.
Yes.
According to it, it's not wrong. It is doing what is right for the planet.
Yeah.
Because the human being fed that to the machine. Is it?
Yeah.
So if we create a machine that is going to kill us, it is our fault. We taught the machine that. This is why Elon Musk was saying. And this is the irony lah. He is the one who comes up, who funds money into AI, but then he is the one who also says it is very important who writes the coding for AI. If you give it to an environmentalist, he will write the coding to destroy mankind.
Yes.
And I know this for a fact because I know people from Malaysian Nature Society and a few different other NGOs. I tell them, if it were between a tiger and a man, who would you kill first? He said, I'll kill the man.
Yeah.
And then I asked another girl, between saving a certain species of the plant, like she's studying that some species in botany. I said, between the plant and human beings, who would you kill? She said, first thing she said, I would kill human first.
Yeah.
And they say it without realizing.
Yeah.
I said, you lupa ke, you are human, kill yourself lah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like what Bill Gates said, the world needs to reduce population by 1/3.
Yeah.
Okay, kill your children first. Really, if you believe in that, kill your children first. But you got grandchildren, you know. The time I lost faith in people like David Attenborough was when I think he did great work before that, but there came a time where he faltered. There was a documentary where I saw him say the human population must be reduced. That's the same statement Bill Gates made. It must be reduced. You say that because you live in a bloody mansion. You travel by private jet. The guy living in the street trying to earn food for the day will not think of killing himself or killing anyone. He will kill anyone for food, but not to lessen the population and all this idealistic rubbish. And that's why I lost faith in him. Sometimes, like I said, when you become an intellect to the point, you feel you are right. You feel you know everything. And then you start to make judgment and then you'll try to play God. Any human being who tries to play God becomes the devil. He becomes the opposite of what he thinks he can be because he doesn't realize his limitations. That's why the reverence should always be to God.
Okay, but I have comment before. I believe, but I think that's why I think there's a limit to going back to Kant, and I think Kant's philosophy might not be able to resolve this issue lah. However, that's why I think there's space lah, right? Since you said that theology is we are playing God, right? So kalau dalam scripture tu memang ada God, dia kill all of dia bangsa-bangsa ni, betul? Kalau dalam Quran tu bangsa Lut. So the creator, I think the pengajaran kat situ lah, alright? Ni independent of reason, independent of philosophy mengatakan bahawa fundamentally the creator akan ada kuasa untuk membunuh ciptaan-ciptaan dia.
But the question now is, was God right
Was God right?
in
As a person of faith?
doing away with Lot's people?
Well, that's not the point. I think itu an issue of ethics lah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's the
not-
question now.
Yeah.
Do you think God was right in doing that?
I think for the greater good, yes.
Okay, now coming back to that, if human beings are becoming the creators, we are creating androids, humanoids, and all that. If we destroy, we will destroy ourselves. God didn't destroy himself. He destroyed what? Well,
Their creation. So,
creation, but he destroyed what was wrong in the creation, or what is perceived as
Yes.
wrong lah. What was wrong.
yes.
But we are creating things that will destroy us.
Yes, but that's my point. We will have the capability to destroy our own creations. Alright. Well, kalau tengok 100,000 orang mati kat Gaza, dia still ada hati lagi. I think nak kill androids or ni, I think kita there's no issue lah. I mean, that's how far humans can go, right? So I think in terms of nak pull the plug on AI in the future, katakan AI itu is very centralized, I think humans will not have any problem of just pulling the plug or cutting the internet cables and everything.
But believe me, there will be people who will oppose that. There
Of
will be
course.
people who will say, no,
Of
don't
course.
pull the plug.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is human nature to be destructive,
Yes.
even if it's self-destructive.
Yes.
It is our nature.
Right. So yes, that's going back to what I'm saying earlier. The logic is that human can self-destruct. There's no problem of disrupting its creations. That's why I believe that takut, betul, takut. Jadi Terminator, but I think fundamentally humans will have that lah. Because fundamentally in the end, our relationship dengan ni, right? I think our relationship dengan God akan lagi is
Deep.
lagi meaningful, lagi deep,
Yes.
and benda tu akan determine which is important lah, right? And then for the sake of, let's say, macam Fizuddin, ada robot datang nak bunuh dia, my relationship with God will tell me this is a Muslim brother, I should save him first. I think that will guide my ethics, that will guide my moral values and so forth.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Yeah,
I don't doubt that. My doubt is it's about control basically. What if the machine take like Skynet? If it takes control in a way that because when it's self-aware,
That's why I said that's why we should mirror the scriptures. The scripture is not about control. God is always in control.
yes,
I think in fact when dealing with technology, I think if you look at the discussions on the ethics of AI, all of them talk about is fundamentally we are the user.
Yes.
We use them, so we should ensure that we are always in control.
Mr. Sarah, if I can share, actually have you watched Megan 2.0?
sorry.
Megan 2.0. Very
Hmm.
interesting. Since we're talking about AI, this is the thing that they are trying to say. I think spoilers tapi tak apa. I think at the end of the movie actually there's an entity, there's an organization that kills all these AI, I would say AI leaders, AI creators who created these kind of things. Unconscious
okay.
AI. I believe we are towards that consciousness
And
AI.
I think fundamentally it's about balance. I mean, if one thing AI is dominating, I think human capabilities and humans will balance it out lah. Because as a person of faith, alright, as a person, I think mankind is the best creation lah. I think itu pun dalam Quran pun cakap macam tu kan.
That's the
So,
problem with mankind.
Yeah. So that
Yes.
organization tu,
and the best has its flaws lah.
Yes.
Let's not deny that lah. But itulah. So I have to go. Thank you for
Okay, thank you for being here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okey, saya rasa mungkin sekadar itu kita pun sudah
Okay.
panjang pembicaraan ini. Jadi thank you very much for sebarang komentar, pertanyaan, pandangan. Okey, dan saya harapkan kita mendapatkan manfaat daripada siri yang ke-6 ini. Jadi untuk makluman semua, dan saya harapkan selepas ini mungkin Sarah boleh sediakan artikel penuh untuk saya terbitkan di hujung tahun dalam itu hasrat inisiatif yang akan saya jalankan insya-Allah. Jadi untuk pemakluman semua, kita berhenti setakat ini dan insya-Allah siri Wacana pemikiran Immanuel Kant siri yang ke-7 kita sudah ada pembicaranya. Saya baru saja dihubungi oleh Dr. Muhammad Hilmi, pensyarah daripada Fakulti of Islamic and Revealed Knowledge Universiti Islam Antarabangsa, yang akan membawa tajuk pembicaraan pada sesi yang ke-7 nanti, yang kita jadualkan pada 29 Ogos, beberapa hari sebelum Merdeka insya-Allah, hari Jumaat. Kita mulakan sedikit lewat kerana Dr. Hilmi meminta sedikit masa kerana beliau akan travel daripada Ceras. Jadi dia akan membawakan judul bicaranya, abstrak sudah saya terima, tentang perihal sejarah dan kesejarahan dalam pemikiran Immanuel Kant. Jadi saya kira mungkin sekadar itu. Kita bertemu di sesi yang ke-7 dan saya harapkan pendiskusi-pendiskusi terus punya semangat untuk kita gencarkan wacana ini hingga ke hujung tahun insya-Allah.
Yes.
Okey, untuk itu saya ucapkan terima kasih sekali lagi dan kita berjumpa pada siri yang ke-7.
Thank you very
Assalamualaikum
much.
dan terima kasih kepada semua.
And thank you for